Talked to John Abella today. Some of you might remember him as the singer, and I think of him as the front man, but I think they all sang of 80s and 90s band, San Francisco band, Johnny's Problem. We talked about briefly about the frustration of what it's like to be a band leader or someone in a band, and you want the other people to be into what you're doing or follow your vision, and you just can't get it to work. It doesn't matter if you don't get along with them, or someone is going to be out of town that weekend, or this is so-and-so doesn't want to practice, or it's just always something. It's a subject near and dear to my heart, having led various variations of Transcendental Hayride for like 15 years or so. The last of which had the drummer Jack, who I just interviewed the other day. The thing about Transcendental Hayride, anyway, in my mind, and it was always me that was pushing to even have the band, was that it was supposed to be rock music influenced by electronic music. It was that simple. I mean, the band formed after Kurt and I went to a rave one night in LA, and I suddenly had this vision of like, wow, it could be like The Dead, but with, doing dance music, but with live instruments, like, The Dead with Moogs, or you can imagine the Stinson Beach acid test, and some guys show up time travel with some fucking ecstasy, set up the turntables in the corner. That's what the Hayride always was for me. But I could never really get anyone into that vision. Kurt was there at the beginning. He knew what I wanted to do. And then a lot of craziness and drugs ensued. I basically went crazy and just kicked him out of my life by being a Looney Tunes. And 10 years go by. We're passing by the playground. I think I'm going to pause for a second. So basically after LA, I moved back to San Francisco, wrote several science fiction books where these dudes time traveled to the 60s and basically did that, made live electronic music but with instruments. And meanwhile, I didn't know, I was kind of insulated in my apartment in the hate and just going to the local bar every night, that a live tronica scene had erupted on the East Coast. So Kurt comes back to the band, we reunite, and he knows what I want to do. We get a bunch of people together, and now when I'm like trying to explain what I want to do, live music with instruments, it's like people just go, "Oh, you want to copy the Disco Biscuits?" It was like fucking beyond frustrating because the Disco Biscuits were great, and we weren't gonna. I was never gonna catch up with them in terms of sound, but for me, it just might as well have been another influence. But again, we had the band, everyone lived at the house, we never practiced. They're happy to get in the van and get drunk every night, but not practice. And as Jack the drummer said one time behind my back, it's too little too late. And it's right around the same time that I found out he said, I don't even like his music, but I'm going to milk this as long as I can. And why not? He was 25. I was 38 at that time, and that's the point. I got to go on tour with my band, my little rock and roll band that broke up, when I was in my 20s. And, all those years when you lick your wounds and wonder what if, I at least got to find out what would happen if I had done it, because I doubt if it would have been any different. I would have hated it. Touring sucks and I'm a pussy. I know that. I'm not bitter about anything now. And even though John comes off as super bitter and negative, John Abella, he's not bitter. He's a fucking diehard musician. And I had a great time talking to him. I didn't get to ask him almost anything I wanted to, but we just fucking laughed the whole time. I can't wait to do part 2. John Abella, here he is.
Hello?
John Abella?
Yes, sir.
Have I reached the mighty John Abella? How you doing, buddy?
All right. How are you doing?
Good. It appears my little app on my phone is working, so you ready to do this?
Yeah. Let's do this, man.
Let's do this, dude. I first have to hand my cat a handful of dry food there before I move into the studio proper over here, which you can't see, but now I'm in it.
Sounds all right to me.
So this, your phone is a 310 area code.
That's like Western Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Venice.
That's what I thought.
West LA.
But you were in the city, and then you moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
You're just all around the country, dude.
Yeah, I've actually just counted because this last time was the roughest of restarting over again, and I think I almost got up to like 10 times I've tried to move my life across the world.
And you think the last time was the toughest?
Yeah, because I'm too old.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably like the cleanest and best mind of your life, but your body, it's like mine, given out.
Exactly. I mean, it's pointless to try to start over. I mean, I might as well just call it quits and, you know.
you're
phone it in.
At this point, you're going to call it quits as a musician? Is that what you're saying?
No, just as a human. Just what's the point?
I know. I mean, but John, I kind of remember you as being exactly like this when you were 21.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't changed. I just look worse. I didn't look like I felt back then, but my looks have caught up to the way I act and feel now. So then people go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
I know.
You know, you had it, right?
I remember my wife recently told one of our friends, just out of nowhere, like, she goes, Dan was really good looking when he was younger. Because she'd seen some pictures of me back in my, like, punk rock teenage days.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean back then? But then I thought...
Sorry, continue.
No, I was going to say, at least I had it at some point, is what it says. So.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I can't tell anymore if I ever did. It's just like people just look at me and they go, "Oh, okay, that's what we get. That's it."
Well, I mean, I think as you get older, you realize a lot of the stuff that we thought when we were younger was total bullshit made up by ourselves to justify our fucking sorry existences, you know?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. The older I get, I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? I mean, like, even I moved to Los Angeles like 17 years ago. And like I even 17 years ago, I've grown a lot for some reason. I thought that that was as grown up as I could get was in my late 30s, but apparently there's still fucking more shit.
I know. Yeah, I mean, 38 just seems like might as well be 19 now, you know.
Yeah. Well, especially with those new fangled young kids these days. I mean, like 30 for them is the equivalent of a teenager. They don't know shit. I mean, I hate to sound like an old man, and I know I do, because even my mother, an old lady, says that I sound like an old man. She's like, anytime you say something about the younger generation, you sound old, and it's just like, yeah, I guess I do. But I've always been like that, even at 19.
So, well, this brings me around to the first. Okay, so I don't remember exactly the day we met, but we met because Chris Thomas had gone to high school with the Wades.
Yeah.
You were in a band with CT, like back in Blues Guys. You'd be backup band for Blues Guys, right? In North Beach?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's how you met CT, and then EJ, right? Was he
Yeah, well, actually I met CT through this woman, Annette, that I was going to move in with at like the age of 19. It was her mom's house, and her mom was just like, Hell's Angel, whatever, girlfriend, maybe tweaking. Who knows? I can't say exactly. But the first night I was there, I think she looked in and she saw me like sleeping in her bed, in Annette's bed, and she goes, "What the fuck?" And so the next day, like she woke up in Annette and said, "Hey, this guy can't stay here." you know. And so, like, pretty much my whole future, you know, when you're 19, that's your future. You're going to stay with this chick and figure it out. But at that point, I was just like, okay, so I'm going to live on the streets. And so I was acting like pretty much a downer, and then Annette asked CT to, like, that he should meet me and take me off of her hands, you know, that I was too much of a downer for her. And actually CT and I just, like, ended up, you know, grabbing like a case of beer and driving down to Santa Cruz. Back when you're young, you could drive drunk. Remember those days?
Yeah, I remember when I stopped driving drunk.
Why? Did you get in and, like, did you kill a bunch of people? Or is that
Not a bunch. No, actually, I don't mean to make light of that, but no,
sorry.
because it was after a stunt cop gig at Lips Underground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I drove the van home so drunk that, like, I didn't even remember anything about the ride, you know. not even leaving the club, you know, no flashes of memory, and it was just really scary.
Yeah.
And then right after that, I moved to LA, and I remember making a conscious decision. I do not want to go to the drunk tank down here in LA. You know,
no.
So, and I just never did it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can make light because it's like, what, 30 years later and you're still alive and you didn't kill anybody. Or if you can't remember, you didn't kill anybody.
Well, I don't remember doing this, but I'm sure I went out and checked the front bumper of the fucking van.
Right. Well,
you
that's
know?
the first thing you do when you wake up and you drove home blackout drunk.
Oh my God, those were the awful days. Like the last 2 years of the '90s in San Francisco I think that was the worst.
Yeah, I had left in '98 due to certain addictions and having to get away from everybody I knew.
Certain addictions. You went for the geographical cure?
Yeah, I went for the geographical cure, which took me, like, you know, forever.
What was the arc of your addictions, though? Because I don't remember ever. Like, I remember we all just used to drink a lot and do shitty coke, but I never did. You know.
Well, I mean, I basically was hanging out with all the dancers and, like, doing a burlesque show with I shall not name everybody at this point.
Right, no names.
There's a debt collector trying to call me. Let me hang up on them and put you on speaker first. Okay,
classic.
There we go. Yeah, so I won't name anybody, but I was hanging out with a lot of dancers and doing a burlesque show, and, like, all of us kind of got strung out at the same time, and at that point, like, everything dissolved, like, no artistic, creative shit was happening no longer, and we were all just pawning our equipment and clothes and whatever.
Was
and,
that,
like, at that point, sorry?
Was that you were strung out on heroin?
Yeah. It's you know, I heard it's a popular thing these days, but
heroin.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's popular or if it's just more, you know, prevalent.
Yeah, well, I've watched a couple movies since then, and it's usually white kids, and they're always dying, and I was just like, oh, well, that's the thing is they don't know how to fucking get high. They just, like, do as much as they can at one time. So they end up dying. Usually everybody I knew was too broke to get high. They were just staying even keeled.
Everybody I knew that died from heroin quit and then did it one last time, and they just did the same amount they used to, and it fucking killed them, you know?
That's exactly it. That's how I OD'd the first time. I think I've OD'd a few times. But the first time was doing that, and the EMT and all them, they were staring at me. And they said the cops are going to come in the apartment if you don't get on the stretcher. You know, apparently, like, people are afraid to call 911 when somebody overdoses, but they're not going to do shit anyway.
They don't want to get blamed, you know?
Right, exactly. And the thing is that the cop, like, my apartment at that point, I was living in, like, a shared bathroom and a floor, like, of a really cheap building in the Civic Center, and, like, my apartment was filled with syringes and blood, like, all over the wall. So the cops were looking in there anyway, like, we're not fucking walking in this place. It was just a death trap. So, I mean,
don't make us come in there.
That didn't teach me the lesson, because apparently just a few years ago I had relapsed and fucked up, and Now this time it sticks because I'm too fucking old and it was too difficult this last time.
It's too difficult to kick. It's got to be getting harder and harder to find it.
No, it was super easy.
I guess you go to play clubs, you play in bars every night, so you probably know there's plenty of people around.
No, actually, it's uncool with that scene. Like, I mean, even when everybody started doing all the pills and snorting it, like, and I said, you know what, this is a waste of money. I'm just going to go to the source of how to really get high. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's so uncool. You're going to start shooting dope again? And it's just like, you guys are basically doing the same thing, but just shoving it up your nose, and it's a pill, so you're paying more.
Oh, well, I still maintain a superiority over all of you guys. So I never shot anything up.
You're awesome. See, I
did tons of drugs, tons of heroin, dude. But I just equated, if I shoot up, that means I'm addicted. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just never did it. I never got hooked.
Well, it's also really gross too. I mean, like,
it's really gross.
when you're like an adult and you think about like doing that shit, it's like, that's so disgusting. But then, you know, it makes sense when you're really fucking sick and like you're desperate. You'll do anything except for, like, with me, I couldn't blow like some guy or whatever. But I mean, it's not unheard of that people will do anything.
I know people that went from, you know, I smoke weed to blow some guy like in 6 months.
Yeah, it's a quick transition.
And we knew that. We knew that before we tried it. You know, you knew that. I knew that, but still, I had to know what it was like to go down and score crack like 50 times just to make sure I knew what it was like to stay up all night and talk to that fucking homeless cab driver guy. You know.
Well, you know, San Francisco in the 80s and 90s was like prime drug-taking culture right there. I mean, like, it was still a cool city, and there were still a bunch of, like, broken toys from all over the country that were moving there. So, I mean, it was just like...
San Francisco was still a cool city?
Yeah. Back then, don't you think?
It had a long run as a cool city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a cool city if you live here.
Yeah,
huh?
Perhaps that it still is, because I know, like, Johnny Axe still lives there. Everybody I know is still somehow managing there. It's just that the last few times I've been there, I'm just like, I got to get the fuck out of here. It's too expensive.
It's a lot different, but, you know, it's like when you live here, it's very gradual, and, you know, and also it depends on what you do. Like, I don't go out. I don't you know.
Right.
And all the change doesn't affect me as much because, hey, I live right by Haight Street, and it's almost it's still the same vibe, Haight Street, since when I moved here, you know?
Yeah.
I go down there.
How long were you living up there near Coal Valley?
I've lived here. I moved back from LA and lived in the same spot basically since 93.
Okay. So you've seen Haight Street change from, what's the name of the I-beam, like turn into a Walgreens or something like that.
Yeah, I saw all those bars like slowly close down, but like that's just kind of the economics of any place. Like when I go home to my hometown in Indiana, it's all different. I'm like, well, where the fuck is the pizza? You know, where the fuck is Bruno's Pizza? What the fuck? Is it across the road?
Right.
You get you start getting propriety. You know, you want to own the past. So.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's just like when I was still calling my friends in San Francisco in the late 90s, and my friend Diana was just like, dude, it's not the same city. Don't come back. You know, and it was just like, even in 99, she's telling me that. It's like, all right, so what am I, like 20 years later? I'm not going to pine for a city that was. I just miss being young.
Even if you, say for example, you came back and it was exactly the same as it was in like 1985, but you were the age you are now, like it would still be fucking weird. Think about what if I just like traveled in time and walked into the Chatterbox now, or like, you know, just like it. I don't want to go back to that time. I don't want to go back to buying fucking baby laxative Coke from Johnny the White Lion and you know, limping home at 4 a.m, like broken dreams, and I'm only 26. It's not something I want to return to.
Yeah, but I miss some of the shit. You know, like I was able to walk around and get into trouble that was super fun. Of course, I'm not going to do it now. If I was still drinking, maybe I would. But it's just that I don't know how to drink normally. I like to finish everything. Like I'm the Cookie Monster with booze. just drink everything.
Did you ever see that? You ever see that Onion article? I'm like a chocoholic, but with alcohol.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but that sounds about right.
Last time I saw you, I think you were drinking. Didn't we go to the Gold Cane or something?
Yeah, we went to whatever haunt that is over on the Upper Haight and hung out.
The last one.
Sorry.
No. I mean, this interview is about you, John. I'm sorry. I'm excited to talk to you.
No, but I want to hear what you're saying. You know, it's like pretty much you were there. So
the San Francisco that we remember is still sort of embodied in the Haight and the Gold Cane, because you can go in the back of the Gold Cane and jam out with musicians, and if you on the Haight, like everyone comes to the Haight, so like everyone that comes to the city comes through at some point, you know. And I go down there and busk with a little amp and stuff, and it's like it's just watching a movie, and the world just walking by, you know. It's really fun.
Yeah. The first couple nights I was homeless in San Francisco in like the late '80s. I was just like, well, I got my guitar and I got myself. I'm just gonna go and play the guitar on Haight Street. And like some dude walks up and he's just like, play some Leonard Skinner. And so I did, like, because I knew how to play all that shit back then. And so he like attached to me and like said, I got a bottle of Thunderbird, and we started drinking, you know, a big fucking gallon of Thunderbird together. And he's telling me, they're like, oh, yeah, well, I got this girlfriend that lives around the corner. You know, I don't know if she'll be cool with it, but you can crash there if you got no place to go. And it was one of those classic stories where eventually it's just like, well, I got to tell you that my girlfriend's a pre-trans man, and I've not told him anything about you coming over. And so then like I'm like getting ready to bed down, and then she walks in and says, this guy I don't know this fucking person. So it's just that was a normal occurrence in San Francisco, as some complete stranger.
That's your first night homeless?
One of them, I think so.
I gotta tell you, there's like a whole fucking book, and that's just that one story alone.
I've got so many crazy stories that, like, if I tell people now, like, I mean, I feel like people are a lot different than they used to be. Or maybe it's just me that I've not changed and everybody's a different person and I'm used to creepy, crazy people. But
well,
like,
dude,
if
yeah, it's dirty living. That was Johnny's Problem. That was your signature song, and we all kind of took that, not only that song to heart, but like all of the bad influences of like our growing up, you know, like all our heroes were just such fuck ups. Why did you want to do that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All my heroes that died are on their own vomit, so it's just at that point it just. Sorry?
We're still here, though.
Well, that's the thing is I didn't realize I was going to live this long, and I know there's a cliched expression, if I had known I would live this long, I would have taken better care. But that's exactly the truth. There's something right about that expression, is that I really didn't see myself living to 50. So now I'm just at 50 in the worst pain and the most like darkest person I could ever be. I guess I'm
you're really not that dark, John. You're just like you're like cartoonishly negative and you know. But it's always been kind of a cartoony, like a shtick kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're a fucking jolly fellow.
See, that's the thing. At least you get it. You know what I mean? Where like people hear the words out of your mouth and they don't know how to gauge if you're funny or if you're just serious. And so I've met a lot of people along the way that are like, that guy is the most negative person in the fucking world. And I'm just like, you just don't understand. I'm fucking joking, man. You know, so that's the problem is apparently I don't know how to read my audience, and I just keep on telling the same sick, disgusting jokes. I went up on an open mic recently, a comedy open mic, and told my
dream.
I told my penis story, which is a fucking hysterical story, but like everybody in the audience was just staring at me.
This gives me hope, John. Tell me the penis story.
So, I mean, it's like they tried to only give me 5 minutes, and it's impossible. But my first day in LA, like, basically decided to go commando, and I was just like trying to kill it and be a friendly, outgoing guy, but just like get dressed without the underwear. And like throughout the day, I feel like the breeze blowing up against me, and I'm just like, okay, that's what commando feels like. It's cool, roll with it. I go to a job interview, and we're out in the back patio, and I feel the breeze up against me again, and I'm like, okay. That's the wind beneath my wings. That's just what commando is, and then I eventually finish all my errands. I go to the Bank of America under the bright fluorescent lights. They tell me to wait on the sofa. So I kind of man spread a little bit, get comfortable on the sofa, and I look down and I'm face to face with my flaccid fucking cock sitting outside of my pants. There was a hole the entire day. And so I basically, like, I had one, like, I even said this at the open mic comedy. It's like, you have one thing to do today, and that's keep your cock in your pants. And I couldn't even fucking do that. And it's just like, these people are horrified looking at me. And some chick tried to make light of it, and next she was, like, after me, and she was like, don't worry. That's, like, what all homeless people. I'm like, you missed the whole fucking point. So it's just an embarrassing story that, like, I told CT, and the guy was, like, rolling on the ground because I just kind of abbreviated the story for you there. Like, usually there's a lot of build-up, but...
That was good. I really like that, the wind of my wings, and, like, I could see you. Don't give up, dude. You got to get back up there. I've got so many of those stories, too. I've been, like, just waiting to just sort of, when I know that at some point I'm going to need the attention, and I'm just going to go. There's an open mic 2 blocks away, like twice a week.
Really?
Yeah, and I've got so many stories, but that was well executed. I think you should expand upon that, and
Have you gone to it?
I've never gone up and done it. No.
Oh, see, that's the thing. Like, I've been to a bunch in L.A. Like, I thought that there would be funnier people in L.A., but apparently nobody's funny anywhere in the world. So it's just a fucking blast to go watch people bomb, and watch them embarrass themselves. So that's the whole reason why I go.
But you actually got up, though.
Yeah, well, you got to, right? Like, it's just like I told the story. I actually dialed up my friend from L.A., and kept her on the phone and just said, here, I want you to coach me, and it was just like part of the piece. But honestly, the jokes that were being told before me were about like black people are like this and white people are like this, or I don't get women. And it's just like, wait, okay, you guys are 30 years behind with comedy, right? You don't have the internet? Like, nobody tells jokes like that anymore. So to be fair, my friend Rena that heard the joke on the phone, she said, John, you used the word precipice, and, like, you're in the South. Nobody knows what that fucking word means. So, I mean, to be fair, maybe they just didn't know that I was joking. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Well, it sounds like they just didn't know what was funny.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody told me that story, I'd be dying. It was like the most cringe-worthy moment of my life. Well, I had actually a nun touch my penis in Amsterdam. That was a nice cringe-worthy moment.
Did you ever have like a 70-year-old guy beg to blow you? And then for another hit of crack, you agree to let him touch your cock through your pants, and if it moves, then maybe we'll talk about it?
That's the best story. I hope you're writing this shit down, dude. That is amazing.
Oh, my God.
No, I just had like...
It wasn't even because I wanted the crack. It was because of this. I wanted to have this later on where I could have a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's always been you. You're like willing to go through the shit just to get the good, like you're mining for gold. You've been doing it for like 30 years. As long as I've known. I remember you one time like quoting a guy at a bar that was just like, do you mind, would you like to hear some homoerotic poetry? And it's just like hearing shit like that. It's like, oh my God. How do we get to this?
I don't remember that, but I like it. There's this guy that comes into my work, and you would think this guy invented being gay. He's like he takes on all the stereotypes, and he's fully like, LGBTQ rights and all the stuff. But he's a pervert. Like he goes to Thailand and stuff, and he kind of hints at doing stuff with like, younger dudes or whatever.
Right.
And he'll just he'll just launch into some sex talk right in front of you, and it's like, I'm hoping I don't have any fucking Viagra left in my system from the night before, because then like I'm getting stimulated by this guy. But no, but I found the way to get rid of him is he's super grossed out by the female anatomy and any sort of sex. So I'll go. One time he was talking about like his friend, this boy, whatever, and I was like, hey, did you ever, when you were, experimenting with your sexuality as a young teenager, did you ever lick pussy? Like pull the folds apart and look for that, and it's really going into all this stuff. And he like turned like just white, like almost ran out of the store. It was awesome.
Oh my God, yeah. There's a bunch of stories where guys in San Francisco, they don't have boundaries. Shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's like,
unlike
when
us, we have boundaries.
Unlike us, we had self-respect and boundaries.
The only boundary I have is like I won't do certain things because I'm afraid I might like them. That's the fucking boundary. You know what I mean?
Well, I found that like no matter how drunk I get, like I have friends that like they'll get drunk enough and they'll be like, okay, sure. But with me, like no matter how drunk I get, I'm still like, no, please get away. Just something about drinking and then thinking about certain things. I get, I don't want to vomit all over somebody or whatever. But I mean, there was a time in San Francisco like doing crystal meth with a bunch of naked strippers, and apparently one of the dancers was selling the crystal meth. So there was like this gay guy, this flamboyant guy that was really had no boundaries. He was sitting next to me the entire time. We're all partying. We're all drawing pictures and stuff like that. Is what you do when you... Yeah, so then the guy starts like whispering to me. He's like, hey man, check it out, like let me blow you for a second. And I'm just like, no, that doesn't really sound fun, especially right now that I'm tweaking. Like your gummy mouth on my cock sounds like really fucking awful, and he's just like, oh come on, like just the tip. Like he was saying shit like that. And after a while, I was just ignoring him. I'm like, no, man. He's like, come on, man. I'll totally suck your dick. You can pretend it's a girl. And I just kept drawing. And then apparently I heard, like, this one girl go, you know what? Put your fucking cock back in your pants. Johnny isn't even looking at you. Like, you're just pissing everybody else off in the room, and he's not interested. Get it? And I was just like, holy shit, the guy's actually sitting there right next to me jerking off. And I was unaware until some girl calls him out.
So he was using the dirty talk that he was saying to you to stimulate himself.
Yeah, in hopes, like, I mean, I know creepy guys that maybe all guys do. I haven't done it, but I know guys that do that trick. Like, I'm just going to pull out my cock and eventually she's going to do something with it. I think he was going on that basis that, like, I'm not going to be able to resist once I see an erect penis. Right,
and especially I won't be able to resist because there's 8 other people in here with fucking crayons drawing like their childhood home.
Crayon party, crystal meth crayon party.
Here's my cat. Hey, look, I do my cat. She's blue. Oh, hey, look, John's getting a blowjob.
Hey, you guys want to look at my... Oh, wait. Hold on a second. John's getting fucking rimmed. All right. It's just very inappropriate. I should have said something like, dude, But I was trying to be polite. My mother raised me right. If you're going to turn down a blatant, like, inappropriate proposition, you're just supposed to say no thank you.
This is the title of your book. I should have said, dude. Okay, listen, we got to go do a little backup here.
Okay.
So, little timeline. You guys, your band Johnny's Problem, who we all loved, that went to the Chatterbox, formed in what, 85?
No, like 87, I think. EJ finally came out to visit when. Oh no, 86. A year off, yeah. Like, I had convinced EJ, like I had known him from high school, and like I was enjoying the songs that Chris Thomas was writing. So we were like, we just need a bass player and we can have a band, and EJ, like I'd known him being this monster bass player, so it's just like,
he's
yeah,
a monster.
Yeah, he still is, but he's happy not playing with any huge, fanatical, massive band like he could. I mean, I guess we all get old.
Well, I mean, no matter what, like I think about now, after my last time I toured was 38, and I knew that I fucking hated it, and I didn't want to do that. That wasn't what I wanted to do. And that would apply even on a level of like stadium. Like I would rather just fucking be home with my wife and my cats and go dick around on Haight Street. I fucking hate being away from home, so that never would have worked. But anyway,
right?
You guys were you got EJ.
Yeah.
You guys were fucking tight.
Thanks, really?
You were like
look back and
two different bands.
How so? Like I just thought we were sloppy and drunk, and I thought that was the appeal, was that we were funny as hell. Like
you were, but you guys could play. Well, here one time I saw you guys play at a warehouse party, like kind of pre-rave, and maybe the DJ was coming on next. But you guys played. You're playing a James Brown song, "Get On Up," or
right, Sex Machine.
Sex Machine. You guys were a three-piece. And the fucking rhythm section was just insane. And you were just up there just doing barely little plinks on the guitar and singing. And the crowd, it was like, I just wanted to be able to do that, And I didn't know how.
I missed that. I fucking missed. Well, because
it was really good.
Thank you.
Then you were also an alternative sort of rock band.
Right. That would do like punk kind of stuff, wannabe heavy rock and roll.
Did you feel like you wanted to enter that world, a different world, like from blues and traditional stuff into like the alt thing that was kind of building at that time?
No, I was doing the blues thing because that's what I was using to pay the rent. Like Big Bones actually started paying me decently, so I was able to play blues gigs with him like 3 nights a week or something like that regularly. Like even at the, what was it called, the Viz Club? The Kennel Club. No, it was the Viz.
It was the Viz back then.
But so it was just another gig, and I was inviting CT and EJ to do those gigs with me. So we had already like had this bluesy kind of soul basis just for fun. Like we were basically taking the piss out of it, but I don't think anybody knew that that's what we were doing because we had to do it like almost every night. And so then, we were trying to just be a rock and roll band, but it was just like, well, why just limit ourselves to this? Why not do everything? So it was with much resistance from CT because that guy's always like, come on, man, let's just be a rock band. He's always, I bet you to this day, he's always going to be like, come on, man, what's wrong with a little 4 on the floor? Let's just fucking rock. So that was the thing. It was just like we were doing a little bit of everything. And at one point, like, we started becoming better songwriters. Like, I can't listen to my own music from when I was in my 20s. It's just ridiculous. But I like what CT was doing in the band.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes I can't even listen to what I did like a couple of years ago. That's awful. But you guys, what I'm saying though is like, was there a moment where you sort of felt like we have now coalesced as a separate entity, really, from that blues stuff we're doing, and we're an actual rock band, and we can do something with this, or was it still just kind of a lark?
No, it was. We did at one point, like we started really writing these intense songs, and some woman that like knew some, like one of you guys from SF, like her son was in a bike messenger with everybody, and then he was living in LA and he was listening to cassette of our band, and she was like some kind of big time manager, and she heard it and she's like, who the fuck is that? And then she's just like, get me those guys' number. And so eventually got a call from this woman that was just like, you should start seeking representation and like
was it
come to LA.
Johnny Teagarden?
Yeah, Johnny Teagarden. I love her. I mean, she was so cool.
Did you know that when I moved to LA, I joined a band that was managed by her?
Really?
New Improved God was managed by Johnny, yeah, so go ahead.
So, she was being legit, like, sweet, like, trying to just see what was happening. I mean, because at that time, like A&R people were really trying to find the next big thing. You know, like it turned into like Arrested Development in Atlanta. Like Atlanta was the scene, and still is, I guess. But at the time, like they're looking all over the country trying to find the next trend. Like, you know, so you know, before
the hot thing to do in LA was instead of having an A&R or like you have a lawyer. You just have a lawyer, and you have your lawyer is going to broker the deal for you. You know, it's like because we would meet with lawyers, and I was like, what the? This is not. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. She's just like, do you know any entertainment lawyers? I was like, I've been playing it like dives. I don't know any lawyers unless they're like tipping me, you know. So it's just like this whole thing. Where she's just like, just come to LA for a weekend, and like I want to just try to set up like a couple people just to watch you. And you know, she was really being like sincere and saying, do you think this kind of music works? Like, what's your act like? Are you live? Like, she was trying to picture the whole thing, you know. And I was telling her that we do everything, and she's like, how does that work? Is that do you lose people? You know. So she was really interested. But then when it came time to like, apparently the rest of the band didn't want to go to LA for the weekend, so then it was just like, okay, I guess we're not going to try that avenue. A lot of failed sort of things kept on happening where I couldn't tell if that like everybody was just afraid or if they just didn't think it was the right move. And listen, at that point, sorry,
John, have you've been through addiction, breakups with girls, pain. But let me ask you: is there any worse feeling than when you have an idea? And you're in a band, and you can't just get those other fuckers to get on board with it.
Exactly. There's no
more worse feeling.
You're exactly. I can't believe you just put that in words, but that's like something I still hold on to. Like I've forgotten about.
Dude. I know.
You just nailed that. I can't let it go. And everybody's still like, let that shit go. And it's like, I don't know. I can't.
But you know, the great thing about it for me is like, I eventually finally pared it down to what I can do without all those fuckers. And I'm perfectly fucking happy with it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not bitter, except once in a while for a moment.
But you do a lot of recording and you just release a lot of shit constantly though, right?
I've recorded a lot of records, yeah. Even the band did like 8 maybe 8 records with a lot of different people.
Jesus.
You know what? And I listen to them every single song on those records. Now I listen to it, and I go, that sucks, man. It needs a bridge. And that's what I've been doing now, going back through years of material. I've been adding bridges and rewriting the songs, and it's great.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am right now. I keep on writing songs. I think since I've been in Nashville, I've written like 30 songs or something like that, and they're actually songs that I don't hate. Like they're nothing like my old songs, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm on perpetual rewrite.
Yeah, but you're taking that old material and it all feeds into the new somehow, even if you don't use the exact thing, you know.
Right.
Some people call it rewriting the same song. My wife has mentioned that. Just kidding, honey. But, it is, you realize at some point, fuck, I'm just rewriting the same song. But, like, who doesn't do that, you know?
Right. Exactly. I mean, like, basically, some people joke that AC/DC plays the same song, and I'm just like, no, man. To me, they're like the ultimate band, but, they can go far with 4 chords and the same formula over and over again.
But we wouldn't like them if they've the same song, We want the same song. That's what people want.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We don't want
Our brains,
AC/DC
as humans, we want repetition and patterns that comfort us,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like I when I listen I started analyzing compositional theory like a few years back and started like teaching myself jazz ballads and that stuff, and after a while I'm like, oh, this shit's easy. Like I can write jazz songs, and I started analyzing classical and everything. So basically with me, like I end up on the same chords no matter how much I know. And it's like, wow, I write the same song. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and also, if you were like, if I was alive back like in the roaring 20s or some great age of songwriting at the Brill Building or whatever, like I would be sitting there doing the same thing I do right now, plinking away at a keyboard or a guitar, writing melodies with like lyrics about, the same shit. And maybe the arrangements would be a little different. The music would be a little bit more jazzy, whatever. But it's the same. It's an addiction. Writing songs is an addiction, man.
Yeah, it's like it's especially it sounds like with you. It's like this constant like re-editing, rewriting kind of thing. With me, I'm doing the same thing. Or like I'll record guitars over and over again because I think I get better at something, and I probably don't. But it's just like I can redo all that. Let me redo it, and it's just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like this is 20 years old now.
Right. So you don't release it in any way?
No, well, that's the thing. I put stuff online, but nobody gets to see it. I don't know how to do any of that shit. I've got like some brilliant friends that have been releasing music, and they don't even have a clue. They're like, I have no idea. And it's just like most people I know these days are like worthy of being super huge, or at least in some kind of underground way. But like it's like a clue that nobody's found yet. Like anybody that's in their 40s or 50s is just like, I don't know how to put music out there. You can put it on any site, but nobody's going to listen to it. So I've got like, I keep on recording songs almost every day and writing new things and it's a completely different genre that I've been working on. That's like, I've never written country songs before. And now I'm writing like J.J. Cale style romantic songs. Right. And it's just like I have no idea what to do with them. And I have friends that are like, you got to do something with your songs. Nobody's going to hear them. It's like I don't fucking know.
Well, it just depends on how satisfied you are emotionally with your life, and then how hungry you are physically. I mean, it sounds like whatever your deal is out there, you were able to move out there and you're surviving, and you're just able to keep doing your thing. It's like not a huge impetus, like you're not hungry. You're not as hungry for
Well, because I'm lazy with like if I can just like I have a gig right now that's like helping somebody record and produce and mix their album, and he's paying me the bare minimum. That I can just barely pay my bills and get by. And it's just like I want this album to last forever so I can just work on that and in the meantime do my own shit. But yeah, I mean, I know that that's got to end and I got to hustle another job. There's plenty of work out here. It's just that I don't know enough people. Like I've been going to open mics and shit like that. I'm just like, okay, I'm confident in what I'm doing and I can do this eventually and make a living. It's just that I got to find the right band and the right people to do this shit with, and it's just like, finding a band. Like, I'm too fucking old for that. I just want to have money in my pocket and go, hey guys, can you play these chords right here? Thank you.
Like,
so
I've had that for a little while. I had like not that I could pay everybody in the band, but I could at least let them live in my house, which is a huge deal,
right?
And then tour out of it as a bass. And
right.
Not only could I not get them to do what I wanted, but like the people that are attracted to someone that would just let live in their house are not exactly the ones that are going to go bust their ass to make someone's vision come true either. It's like there's bare minimum, maybe great musicians, but not ones that are going to practice or want to practice or do anything. And I mean, I don't know, like you'd have to have a lot of money to pay musicians to do exactly what you wanted. I've never had that kind of money, so.
Well, I didn't have that kind of money, but in LA, like I had made it, like we had eventually got this really fun, sexy kind of vibe going with, it was just jazzy. It was all originals, but I was writing like a lot of jazzy, bluesy stuff, or like, Latin, James Bond sort of music. And we had this really hot singer with an amazing voice. So that was just pretty easy to get people on board because people would hire us. And they're like, it doesn't matter that we're only making $100 a night. It's that we get frequent gigs. So I had like amazing professionals play with me, and like a lot of the songs for me, they're no brainers. It's like, okay, 2/5, 1 minor, just like, and I'd give everybody charts that didn't know the song. After like a month of doing a residency, everybody's tight, because we're all playing together. So. Right. It was that, like, there's times that people couldn't make the gig, and I still wanted to keep the gig, so then I'd have to get their friends to do it and, like, panic all over again. But, like, after a while, like, I mean, I'm so used to that. Like, I was doing that in San Francisco in the blues gig, playing with people I didn't know, but I'm so used to that now. It's like, well, Doesn't have to be the same bass player every time. Doesn't have to be the same drummer. They just got to be fucking good. You know? At this point, like especially in Nashville, everybody is like a hired gun. Like there's going to be amazing bands, and it's like everybody's coming together for one gig that they like their friend or something like that. So I'm hopeful. It just takes too long.
I think personally, I keep writing songs and record them, and my hope is that someone will find a CD years down the road after the apocalypse and play it in some part. When they get the electricity going back again, they'll play this one CD, and then that small group of people there, like some guy or some group of people, will learn some of the songs, and then it becomes folk music of the next, next rising of the human race.
Legendary.
Because they don't even have to know my name, but the music, you know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. Posthumous fame.
Sparks.
Posthumous fame is the one thing to wish for,
Oh yeah, I love that shit. I mean, it's you're saying that like eventually if I'm hungry enough, I'll want to do something. It's like I've always got this like unfinished business somewhere in me that I'm just like I feel like I've missed the boat somehow, and I'm too old, but I still want to make music for a lot of people. Because it's like I just finished a book about like man's search for meaning. Because I've gotten into conversations where my life is completely pointless, and when you live a life that's in pain and suffering and no point, you're going to kill yourself. So I had to start figuring it out, and so through that, I forgot what I was just going to say.
Posthumous fame.
What's that?
We were talking about posthumous fame, and then you.
So then, like, that was my feeling that, like, if I have any meaning, I love playing for people live. Like, I love making people dance and take off their clothes or whatever they do. But it's like I like being on stage and, like, running things. It's a real fun thing. So it's like, I still have, like, the unfinished business that I would love to I don't need to be famous. I would just like to play in a packed room maybe once in a month or something.
Right.
I like playing.
Is it like so? You are a singer, right? You sing.
Somewhat.
But you don't really consider yourself a singer.
Not really. Not when I've met so many good singers that actually know what they're doing.
And do you consider yourself a lead guitar player?
Not really. I just consider myself like a musician. Like I can play the piano as well as I play the guitar and the bass.
So music director is more like what your vibe is.
Yeah, I like being the librarian that culture puts everything together, like art. What's that called when somebody puts everything together? Whatever that word is that I can't.
The curator?
Yeah, the curator.
I almost said the cultivator.
that too, it's like, I mean, I love playing the guitar, and that I've been doing it so long that like I watch other people play, and I'm just like, all right, I'm confident. Like, I'm not a shitty guitarist, I'm not a shitty bass player, and I'm not a shitty pianist, and I can actually write good ideas and create in the moment and write something on the spot. So, and then when I hear other people sing, I'm just like, well, fuck that, I can sing. It's like that horrible comparative kind of thing, which is the death of all artists. It's to sit there and go, I can play better than that.
A couple of years ago, it's almost 2 years now, I just decided, because I miss playing in a band, and my neighbor had kids, and we couldn't jam out here anymore, and it was like, so I said I was going to be one of those people that just goes out and plays on Haight Street, and I tried out a couple little amps. And then I had this thing in my mind where I was going to sing really softly and do more like in my mind, it was like a Tom Waits vibe more.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like I'm a huge Tom Waits fan. I love him, but I would never try to sing like that.
Right.
But then, so I went out there, and after a short amount of time, I discovered that my whole life I've been trying to sing an octave higher than my normal register, and I have a really deep voice. And the songs just fucking reshaped themselves and stretched out, and I've written like 1 billion songs since then, and it's all like sad country shit for the most part. But it's like, the point is, I found my true voice at like fucking 53 years of age, and now it's like I might as well have been reborn. and I love it. Point being, like maybe you haven't even found your true voice yet.
Well, I tried. Certainly try. I mean, I think I have. I just get embarrassed. I just get embarrassed, when I sing and I hear my recordings and I'm like super sharp. And look, another thing is that when I sing, sometimes I get really fucking loud and I scare the shit out of people. And it's like fun to me, but I don't think it's fun to anybody else. But I mean, what you're saying, that's pretty fucking awesome. Is that like when I was writing stuff as a younger person, it was just like, what the fuck? Like I'm writing songs that I can't even sing or play, or like, what's the point of what I'm doing? So I hear you on that.
I would write these songs, and in my mind they would sound like Jane's Addiction or whoever was cool, And then when I would sing them, my voice was just thin and reedy, and it sounded like awful, and I just didn't even know,
Yeah, that's the thing is with age. I mean, like I don't think like Paul McCartney can sing like he used to.
Yeah.
Maybe he's done everything he could have done at the age of 30, but I think for the most part, a lot of singers like sound better as they get older and they get fine-tuned and like they're writing more appropriate shit.
It's funny too because most people never really have much of a following past their first couple albums.
Right.
And
well, that's the thing.
Having not made it, like now, of course, I think what I'm doing now is the best.
Right. That's where I am right now. I feel like I'm doing the best shit that I've ever done, and I'm writing some actual songs that I don't hate and that aren't like, at one point, I got tired of trying to rhyme everything with pain. I was writing the same, like, depressing, sad, pissed off kid kind of song. And it's just like in my 30s, like, I think I showed one of my friends my old recordings. I was like, Jesus, dude, it's like enough.
This guy walked by me when I was playing on the street the other day, and it was the song called I Only Drink to Get Through the Day. And he was like, as he walked past, he's like, that's a mighty sad song, bro. You better pick it up. And it was a good reminder because occasionally that happens to me. I don't play a lot of sad songs, write them, and then someone will say something, and I'll have to write some positive, upbeat ones. So.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, is that I'm not a very fast person. Like every song I write is like pretty slow and intense and grinding, and there's just like I gotta eventually, because even when we were doing sets in LA, people are like digging the sexy vibe, and it's just like, guys, can you play something upbeat so people can dance? It's like, no, man, we just want everybody to fuck.
This is a song about my soul.
Don't try to censor me.
All right, so okay. Johnny's Problem, how long you guys were together? Were you guys together?
Like 6 years or something.
And then how did the breakup go? Tell me about the breakup, the crash of the dream.
Well, the joking part with me and CT was like, who jumped ship first? And like we were still playing, and then like Lemon, like we go, EJ jumped ship, and then Lemon just chimes in. He's like, guys, Rocco jumped ship first.
Was Rocco ever in it?
Well, he was just with us the whole time. He believed in us until he saw that nothing was going to become of it. It was like we were playing, getting like all these amazing offers. But then, like, EJ was flying back east. I guess he just got homesick. And eventually, like, he said he was on his way back, and we kept on doing gigs without him. With Al Robinson was playing bass with us, whom I fucking loved. I thought he was amazing, and such a funny person. So then, like, EJ, eventually I call him, and he's just like, you're not coming back, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? We've had, like, 2 opportunities to do something. He's just like, well, I wanted to play in a band that was already touring and had a recording contract. And I was like, okay. So you didn't want to work for it. You just wanted to join something. And he blew that off even too. So I'll never understand the guy. I love him.
But are you guys still friends?
Yeah, I still talk to him when I get a chance. But he's
no real hard feelings then?
Oh, there's always going to be hard feelings between me and those 2 fuckers. They don't know it, and they're probably never going to listen to this recording either. So,
CT definitely will listen to it.
Well, I still talk to him
because CT is going to have to come on and answer to this shit, you know.
Oh, nice.
EJ too. I'll just fucking send it to EJ. So what do you have to say about this, Jonathan Simpson?
I love that because I want to hear because I've never gotten a straight answer, and that's why I mean, there's no love lost. I don't know what to say. I love them, and I will always have their backs, and I love playing music with them, and the past is the past. It's just like I'm a little confused on why things didn't succeed more, and part of that was just like eventually things weren't going the way they wanted, and it was different from the way I wanted. So then like EJ jumped ship, and then I think CT had a kid up in Seattle, so then he moved up there, and I actually followed him up to Seattle. And then I tried to play music with him, but he was in a dark place, so then I had to just start the same band with my newer stuff and just like a drummer and a bass player, which was actually really fun and really good. But then, then addiction
This was
came.
in Seattle? In Seattle, you
Mm-hmm.
had another version of Johnny's Problem?
Yeah.
This is a whole fucking forgotten. I never even knew about this chapter.
It's really good recordings too. Like we recorded in Oakland at one of the Idiot Flesh. The bass player from Idiot Flesh had like a reel-to-reel recorder in a warehouse in Oakland, and so we recorded all my new shit, which is fucking great. I love it. I can still listen to it and enjoy it. It's just that I sound really pissed off. I mean, and it sounds dated because it's definitely 90s style music. It's quiet, loud kind of shit. But I mean, eventually, I followed CT, but he was in a different kind of place, and then we agreed that, he'll just do his thing and I'll do my thing, and then eventually, I moved out of Seattle and tried to start another life. I forget where next, but it's been running around the country forever trying to just figure out what to do.
When you were reading a book about man's search for meaning, do you believe in God?
Not really.
Did you ever have a moment during strung out or whatever when you just, if you're out there, please help me with this or that kind of thing,
No, I feel like I've hit some really dark moments where I don't feel like there is anything or anybody. I mean, I certainly say, please, just for once, can I have a win? Daddy wants a win. But I don't think I've never I've always been this kind of bleak sort of thing about any of that shit. I mean, I tried doing yoga, and this woman the other day was just talking about let the light wash over you, and I'm just I'm supposed to be focusing on the moment and just let that shit happen, but my mind's going, you know what? I wish you would stop being so fucking figurative because I don't see any light, and I don't see any light going over my heart. I just hear blood pumping, so I'm just a little too, I don't know. I'm just not that kind of person.
Dude, I really think you should write a book.
I would love to. I've got some creepy and amazing, some hilarious stories.
Do you have a computer?
Do I have a computer?
Yeah, you have a computer. You record, don't you?
Yeah. Just start writing.
Yeah, it would be fucking awesome. I mean, listen to you talk and your stories. It's hilarious. Why wouldn't it be great on paper?
Yeah, that's true. I did write the penis story out in my in one of my journals, and it's a lot more descriptive with a lot bigger words and stuff, and it's pretty hysterical to read. I even laugh when I read it. So I guess, I mean, I always think about, I should just start from the beginning and just keep on telling stories where it leads up to where I am now. Because, I mean, there's been so many times where I'm just, not that person. It's one day I'm going to laugh about this. I'm the kind of person that's just this is the most fucked up moment I could get myself into. How did I do this? I don't ever see the future.
You've by your own estimation started over 9 or 10 times. I mean, that's 10 books right there. 10 books of short stories. It could be the fucking the the wandering minstrel David Sedaris, you know?
Awesome. I think it would be a little bit darker and with a lot more curse words in it. But,
have you seen the world now? People want dark. You have to have dark. Because focusing on the dark, the cartoony dark, and laughing at the dark is the only way to bring the light. Like your yoga teacher was talking about, you know?
It's true in some kind of sick, fucked up way. Well, because I mean, I've been in therapy since I was like 7 or something like that. I'm not.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a very good advertisement for therapy, is it?
Some glowing review. Therapy works.
Yeah, therapy works. I've been going for 43 years.
I'm like snorting a line off a prostitute's ass. Therapy works for me.
Therapy works. But what were you gonna? What was your point you were gonna make?
Oh well, so like I've been working with therapists my entire life, and right now I'm finally actually figuring it out. You know, like what I'm doing. Like I've got like a super fucking smart therapist that's just like, I mean, this shit's like the only thing that I can get free in Nashville. Otherwise, like I'm gonna die from some shitty health. But like the therapy part is like this woman from Eastern Europe, you know, that's super fucking smart, and she knows the way my mind works. Like she figured me out within seconds, and so she says stuff that makes sense to me. So I'm hoping at one point I don't get like all. I seem to catastrophize a lot of things. Everything turns into the end of the world for me.
That's a decision.
Well, it's not having control over my emotions and realizing what the reality is. You know, like I'm not seeing reality a lot of the time. I'm just assuming the worst out of everything and just thinking that like the worst.
You just described my inner psyche.
I think a lot of people are like that, and just a lot refuse to believe that there's otherwise.
Not my psyche, my inner psyche.
Yeah.
The brain within the brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've been setting myself up to fail a lot of the times, and now I'm just like, all right, let's figure this shit out. I mean, I just like had like a fucking heart attack for the last week about like my computer losing all my shit. So
did it lose it all?
Rather than be like that, like I'm supposed to be like, all right, well, somebody's gonna fix it and it's gonna be all right.
Have they fixed it yet?
No, I'm still waiting for the phone call. I would call them back, but I've called them enough times, and it's kind of like the waiter spitting in your food. Like, I've already bothered these computer geeks for too long that they're just going to be like, you know what, this motherfucker's annoying us. Let's destroy his shit. And say, sorry, bud, we couldn't find any of it.
Dude, I one time I called and threatened this guy because he hadn't fixed my computer, and he was even more fucked up. And it was just a really weak, bad moment. I don't even know what I said, but it was just like, it's like I went into like hostile, you know, cornered cat mode on this guy on his fucking voicemail. They could have arrested me probably for what I said. You motherfucking, if you don't,
left him a voicemail.
Seriously, it was like one of those times. Do you ever have those times where you're like standing outside of yourself, just watching yourself do some really stupid, fucked up shit, and you're like, don't, and then but you do it anyway?
Yes.
Have you ever felt like that, John? I bet you have.
Don't do that. No, you're doing it.
Don't do that, you dumbass.
Yeah, that's been my entire existence. Like, I get afraid to be on the edge of a building because part of my mind is like, do it, jump, it's going to be fun. But I'm just like, oh, shit, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't listen to you. Fuck you. You know,
Remember when Christopher Walken says that to Woody Allen in that, I forget what movie is it now, but he's like, do you ever, when you're driving and you see like a tree, you want to just turn over into the oncoming headlights? That's probably more people than you would imagine. You know, I bet everyone's got a little bit of that in them.
I think that's normal because then they wouldn't put it into a movie if it wasn't. I mean, there are Sorry.
Well, Woody Allen might put it into a movie so that we think he's normal, but
but he's not. He's creepy and gross. I mean, I thought I was weird, but I'm not going to marry my daughter. That's just too fucking weird.
I'm not either, mainly because I'm not going to have kids.
Right. I do have a kid, and he's in Northern California with one of my old friends that I had a burlesque show with in the 90s.
I always had the impression that you guys like got drunk and had a moment together, and then that was what happened. It wasn't really your girlfriend, right?
No, she was just like, we were close friends. We were both testing to see what it was, and I think the problem is that I think something so much that I think that I actually say something, but the other person is completely clueless to what's happening, and then months passed, and I just assumed that I had said something to resolve it, but I didn't. I just thought it. So I think it was a big misunderstanding just because I just hear so much in my head that I think I say out loud. So eventually it was left to like, yeah, I'm going to have a kid.
But we're not going to be together. No, I know that. I know that feeling where you planned it. You decided something in your mind and for so long that you just assume that, like, well, she knows, you know.
Well, when the whole thing was that when she said she was pregnant, I was like, I don't want you to resent me. I don't want to feel like I'm cornered. So let's just be friends, you know, that kind of thing. And I think she appreciated the honesty with that. So no harm, no foul. I'm just going to try to say the nicest things possible about no idea if things come back to bite me on the ass or not, because, you know, the internet's forever and recordings can be used against you.
I think everybody knows who you are already, John.
Nobody knows who I am, and the minute I leave the room, people stop talking about me. I know that, but I'm afraid that something eventually, you know, it's like you shoot a video of you doing something really crazy, and then it resurfaces somehow, and you're like, how? I guess I should have deleted everything. That kind of thing.
That's what's worse is if like people that get like tested for DNA and all of a sudden they're implicated in a murder in like 1983. You know, what the fuck? I thought I got away with that 30 years ago, man.
I have dreams like that.
Like, oh my god, I know. I've had dreams like that too, and like I woke up and that never happened, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when you're relieved. Like, oh my god, I thought I was just going to get taken in and do life. And then you confuse yourself, like, did I actually kill somebody? I can't remember now. Like, blackout drunk, maybe I did murder somebody. I don't know.
These are the kind of stories I'll have them rolling at the open mic.
I have to call my sister. Do you have enough stuff, or can we talk soon?
Yeah, no, this is fucking perfect jumping off point for part one.
Don't blackmail me.
I'm not, but this is so fun, dude, to just have these conversations.
Oh, well, I love talking to you. I mean, because you've got the same sense of humor, and I've known you for, like, 30 plus years, so yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, bro, I love you.
Anytime.
I'll bug you again for part two. In the meantime, look to the internet for your fame.
I'm afraid. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, buddy. See you later.
All right, bye.
I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did or didn't do. And I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was you did or didn't do it with. I'm on shaky ground, shaky ground. And I don't know if it's us. I don't know if it's just that time keeps killing things. But I keep hanging on. I keep hanging on, 'cause I miss you. 'Cause I miss you. I do my job and I keep my head down against the cold. I furrow my brow. And there's a thin white light coming through the trees. It's just enough to see. And I don't know anything. I don't know anything except I need you. Except I need you. So I do my job and I keep my head down against the cold. I furrow my brow. I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did or didn't do. I'm on shaky ground.